WCC Basketball is brought to you by University Credit Union, who invite you to experience the credit union difference. To learn more about the benefits of banking with the cooperative, visit ucu.org today. And by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. We are about to get things going here between Santa Clara and Pacific. Time now for our starting lineups, brought to you by Cal Hope. Of course, the big name that's missing from Santa Clara is Brandon Pajemski. Fantastic three-point shooter. Broncos leading scorer, leading rebounder, does just about everything. This is the first time that head coach Herb Sendek has you a different starting lineup for the Broncos this year.
Well, that's unfortunate, Troy, but you know, Coach Sendek's been around the block, and he'll go to his bench. He'll go to some guys that have been very productive, and it's always next man up. And you hate to see your leading scorer of all people go down, but it's probably going to be he'll be back soon. So your team's got to step up in his absence.
Cozy Akametu getting the start. He is a freshman from Carson, California. Meanwhile, the Pacific Tigers, they've won 3 in a row. After kind of a tough start, they began at 2-5, but they've since won 8 of their last 12. They've been able to put some things together, especially with some of the younger players.
Well, I'm a little worried about them at home. They're 6-2 on the road, third best road team in the conference, which is incredible, or the best road record in the conference. And so they've got to play well at home, and they usually do. Stano Center's been good over the years. You know, I see Bob Thomason across the way, a lot of history there, but they usually play well in the home court.
There's the Pacific head coach Leonard Perry in his second year running the show. Previously, the associate head coach for the Tigers when David Stoudemire was here. He says it's year 2. We're building something here, and time is on our side. And talking to him before today's game, I got the sense that he likes this group of guys.
Well, you know, and he should. He's got a good group, and so many times a coach inherits a program, and there's change. There's only 4 returning players, so they took some lumps last year, Troy, but that's all a building process. You look at Herb Sendek, he's taken lumps, and his teams get better. That's what coaches do. They're team builders and program builders.
Herb Sendek in his 7th year as the head coach at Santa Clara. Previously ran the show at Arizona State and NC State, along with Miami of Ohio, has been to 7 NCAA tournaments.
I'm tired of looking at him, Troy. He hung a few losses on me. I have a lot of wins over 600. I think I would have had 700 if I didn't have to play against him. He's a great coach. Just a lot of respect. I've known Herb, and always good to see he and his teams perform.
Well, Broncos and Tigers, away we go. Enjoy the game. Santa Clara 14-5 on the season. 2-2 and in 5th place in the West Coast Conference. Pacific is actually ahead of them right now. 3-1 in conference action and 10-9 overall. Keep in mind that the Broncos have already played Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Lost to both of them. Stewart kicks outside. Keyshawn Justice, 3.
He's one of the most improved players, not only in this league, but in the country. He's got nothing but better as time's gone on. Just shoots the ball with such confidence. The senior from Madison, Wisconsin.
Meanwhile, straight ahead from 3. That is too long. The shot from Judson Martindale, who's broken into the starting lineup of late for the Tigers. Underneath. And the finger roll. Jaden Bediako.
Well, how about, yeah, exactly. How about the pass inside? Big guys know how to pass because they know where the ball should get to, and they got it there in a hurry.
Broncos up quickly, 5-0. Mo Odom, freshman from the Bronx. Leonard Perry calls him a New York City guard. Meanwhile, straightaway 3, boom, off the mark. Down by Cozy Akametu. Keyshawn Justice, graduate student from Madison, Wisconsin, turns it over. On the floor, in the lane, the scooper falls off. Abdalovich couldn't get it to go. Akametu broken up, trying to get it back, taken back by the Tigers.
Like the pace, Troy. Both teams really getting up and down the floor, trying to beat each other in defense. And why do you do that? Because you don't want to play against teams in their set defense.
High energy to start this game. Finding Boone underneath, gets banged, hits just about every part of the rim possible, but Boone works hard, gets it back, and scores for Pacific.
Well, how about his second effort? Kevon Boone just stays with it, misses the shot, but doesn't hang his head, goes back up, gets it, and scores with the opposite hand.
Kevon Boone, the junior, transfer from Oklahoma State. Meanwhile, the dish Bediako takes a couple steps and makes a nice move to the basket. 7-2.
Yes, he did take a couple steps, but he was a big guy. They gave it to him. And, I just love seeing guys use their pivoting and footwork. But this game's been just high octane.
Dalvich for three.
Don't blink.
Dusan Justice as the baseline cut off. Greg Outlaw working defensively for the Tigers.
And I like both teams just prodding and really trying to find something in transition, really trying to get early offense, as we call it.
Justice finds a lane, comes up short. Martindale had it for a second. Straightaway three. Stewart. Too short. Martindale grabs the board. Stewart, the sophomore from Baton Rouge. Boom. He's been playing terrifically of late, tries and is fouled along the way.
I liked his ability to draw a foul in that situation. So many times when you beat your defender, if you can get an angle on him, Troy, even though that was an awkward shot, he probably wasn't going to make it. You can see, look at the angle. He sees he's got his man beat. He just leans in and draws the foul. Excellent job offensively.
Boone, the current West Coast Conference Player of the Week. A 27-point, 12-rebound night against San Diego on January the 5th. 11-15 from the floor that night. 51st.
Well, he's had a career high. He put 27 on San Diego, and my buddy Steve Ladden. So I know he can score and he can get points for your team in a hurry.
Boone makes just one. Ball out of bounds. We'll go in Santa Clara's direction.
I still both teams pushing the pace, even on a dead ball. Nobody's walking this ball up in this game.
My guys are going to get their GPS rates up here today. Akametu puts it on the floor. And a nifty move to the hoop.
Well, that's what three-point shooters can do if they really see avenues. They can take it to the rim because they're being guarded so hard at the three-point line.
Akametu, freshman from Carson, California. Nice spin move by Mo Odom. Can't get the finish. Back up top, Stewart. Takes it back. Lost the handle. Scramble for it. Here come the Tigers. Third turnover, and the Tigers take advantage. The layup from Odom is good. Quickly, other end. Justice, three, off the mark. Dalvich. Scramble for the rebound.
Troy, if you haven't seen these teams play, you're in for a treat because they really get up and down. These are two defensive coaches, but look at the scramble. They keep it alive, the unselfish play, kick it ahead. But I think that's really intelligent basketball when you can try to get points off your defense and also try to get early looks. If you consistently set up against a solid defensive team, you're not going to get the same looks.
Finished there by Mo Odom, the current West Coast Conference co-freshman of the week. So a couple of award winners from last week for the Tigers. Back to Boone. Long three. Swish.
Well, he's feeling it. Troy, when you get in your rhythm, that's a danger sign for your opponents. You never want to let good players get good starts.
Tigers with their first lead of this one. Outside, in the corner for three. Bang.
Welcome to modern basketball. You have a layup? No, I'm not taking the layup. I'm kicking it to my teammate for a three. Three's higher than two. Even I can figure that out.
That broke a 12-4 run.
Well, that's amazing. Just giving up a layup for a three. But that's the nature of the game today.
Meanwhile, Odom on the floor again. Survives the contact. Gets fouled. He'll shoot on the other side. Three-pointers. Both teams feeling it early. For Pacific, it's Keon Boone hitting for three. And then at the other end, Brett Napper. Swish. Fast start here in Stockton. Fast start between the Broncos and the Tigers. Ben Braun, sometimes 3 is greater than 2, maybe when you have an open layup.
Not sometimes, all the time, but this is what's called paint touch threes, and teams do this intentionally. Troy, they're now trying to get into the paint by the dribble or by the pass. When you can break a team down, get to the rim, everybody's now going to collapse. So what do? You tip it out or you kick it out for the wide open, uncontested three-point shot, and that is greater. 3 is greater than 2. I do know that.
Simple math. Parker Brown with the assist.
We joked about it. That's analytics, and it started in the NBA, and it's continued all the way down to college, even high school basketball. People are giving you all kinds of reasons why they take more 3s than 2s.
Mo Odom hits both free throws.
You shoot over 33% from 3, you've won. You've won the battle of the analytics.
13-12, Tigers leading Santa Clara. Napper. Oh, ball handle. Passed up the shot, traveled along the way. Akametu had a little room to run, but took a little extra motion.
That's rare for a Santa Clara team, and Herb Sendek to come out of a timeout and not get the shot you want to turn it over. He's pretty recharged his plays coming out of timeouts. It's pretty lethal.
Pacific started 0 for 4 from the floor. 4 for 5 since that point. And make it 5 for 6. Almost in and out. Rebound eventually grabbed by Akametu. Miscommunication. Akametu is headed towards the hoop. Justice was behind him, but he wasn't ready for the ball.
Yeah, always have to know where the ball is, not just on defense, but on offense. It's, it's important. The ball's the most important thing on the floor. If you turn your head on it, certainly when you set a screen, you turn your head to set the screen. But, the screener sometimes is more open than the person coming off.
Parker Brown coming off for Santa Clara. Christoph Tilly is in. Freshman from Berlin, Germany. Crossover to the hoop, into the trees. Can't get it to fall. Santa Clara ball.
Well, I thought that really in that play, there was a clear lane to the basket, but to avoid the shot clock, he went to the opposite rim. You could see it. I think he could have gotten the foul if he'd gone up strong side. But, that's all retrospect. You're trying to go and do what you think is best for you in your game.
13-12, Pacific with the lead. Keyshawn Justice. The leaders of the Santa Clara squad. Akametu, a freshman, puts it up in traffic and scores.
And you can see how hard it is to contain one-on-one. The hardest thing in basketball, Troy, ball containment, one-on-one. So you have to depend on help. And if you do, that's when teams beat you, as we said, off the passes and distribution.
Tyler Beard. Tigers work it around. Now back. Heading in, it's Martindale. Tries the right-hand scoop. A finger roll by that young man.
I love these against the grain. Come back to your strong hand and go back and lay it up. But both teams getting angles to the basket.
Napper from long distance. That's going to be Pacific's ball. Judson Martindale, a sophomore transfer from Holy Cross. Holy cow with that move.
But you see, I think it's, again, worth noting that both teams will do everything they can to get into that paint. It's something that teams and coaches chart. You can get 2 feet in the paint, you're going to break defenses down.
Donovan Williams, transfer from Oklahoma State. A couple of young men from Stillwater making their way to Stockton. That dunk will not count. The whistle came before the move to the hoop. Williams from Oklahoma State, transfer from Oklahoma State, as did Kalon Boone. Well, this one won't be official, but
that's for good measure.
Highlight reel, yes.
No, I like it. You always go, that's a free one. Go take that, get the rhythm, let the other team know you mean business.
Hey, maybe send a message a little bit as well.
No, I like it. No problems, no harm, no foul in that.
Cam Denson in the game, replacing Boone. Denson, a sophomore from Compton, California. Back-to-back games. 16 points earlier this year at North Dakota State and against Fullerton. He wings the ball back for the Tigers. Underneath, wide open, Donovan Williams.
I love that look. I think, the quick hands of Pacific is really, that's paying off. I mean, just it was almost like a hockey poke check Troy, that was just a pop and recovery, but I like it. Active hands.
Well, as a coach, you have to love when defense turns directly into offense. Back to Stewart. Long three. Short. Underneath. Fighting for it. Doesn't get it to fall, but he'll go to the line. One thing that Leonard Perry said has been an issue for his squad has been rebounding. I'm sure he has no problem with this play, this sequence.
No, I like it. It's just, you get the ball on an extra possession because you're alert, quick hands. Offense cannot relax. You've got to really take care of the basketball, 2 hands on the ball. But teams today are really doing a better job, not just stopping the ball, Troy, but getting their hands and deflecting the next pass or making the next pass difficult. If you can do that, and there should be a stat for that. It's almost like we chart block shots, but we should chart affected shots. That to me is you're going to get more shots affected than you get blocks, and that's just as, to me, crucial as bottling a pass.
Cameron Tongue makes both free throws. Bediako back in for the Broncos, and Beard turning on the Jets. The scooper falls in. Holy smokes.
Well, that was a great offside. Again, using the rim as a protection and just finding the other side. No help over there on that side.
Beard, the transfer from Georgetown. Lost his footing. Tigers trying to get it back. Broncos hang on. Cameron Tongue resetting everything. In the paint, surrounded. Almost found a way through anyway. Williams skies high and grabs the board.
Well, he did find it through, just couldn't get it to go down. That was a good isolation and almost a great finish.
Denson. In the corner for 3. Off to the side. But the Tigers overshoot it. Falls to Santa Clara. And they're on the run. Outside, Carlos Stewart spots up for 3 and hits. Carlos Stewart.
Well, we talked about his being in the game and creating 3-point threat. He just showed you why.
Can Martindale return the favor? Yes, he can.
This is a shootout in the OK Corral here at the Spano Center. This is quite an exhibition of bombs away.
High-paced, fast-paced game. Tongue underneath, scores.
Love the patience in the step through. That's a great move, especially for young players watching. Just don't bring the ball down. Be patient. Hit your defender in the air.
Beard just inside the free throw line. Tongue goes up and gets it. Cameron Tongue, the sophomore from Medfield, Massachusetts. He'd never heard of Santa Clara. When they called him up, he did a little research, and he said, hey, that's where Steve Nash went. Maybe they got a little game.
Well, I have a funny Steve Nash story when we come back. It's actually not so funny, but amusing. We'll talk.
That, my friends, is known as a tease in the business. No tease here from Tyler Beard. That is good stuff. Fun stuff here in Stockton. Tigers up by 1. Well, while you watch West Coast Conference action, join the conversation using hashtag WCCHoops. And for the latest news, scores, and more, follow WCC Hoops on Twitter. And a fun one so far, a lot to talk about. It's sloppy in some respects for the Broncos. They've already turned it over 5 times compared to none for Pacific to this point. But, of course, when you talk about Santa Clara Broncos basketball and its illustrious history, Steve Nash, certainly in the conversation, you have a story.
Well, I'm going to get to it. I reluctantly, but I brought it up. I don't want to not finish it. But this game's too good to right now.
Parker Brown puts the Broncos back on top. It's 23-22.
Brown, same name, no relation. I claim guys, though, when I think they might be related.
He is related to his brother Christian, who, of course, was taken number 21 by the Denver Nuggets.
Great player.
Last year's NBA draft. Williams on the floor, fearless, coming to the hoop. Donovan Williams, junior transfer, originally from Rockford, Illinois. Missed the last few games, hadn't played since December 29th with a heel contusion.
And it's a long layoff, and Leonard very, very happy to get him back.
Sam Freeman also back from injury. Catch and shoot, short, but foul. Here's Jordan Ivy Curry. Sophomore transfer from UTSA, originally from Lamarck, Texas, just outside Houston.
All right, confessional time.
Okay.
Who didn't think in his infinite wisdom Steve Nash was good enough to play for him? Ben Braun.
Wow.
Eastern Michigan. I said, Steve thought he was a great soccer player. And everybody else did as well. I wasn't alone, but it was Santa Clara at the time that came in and said, young man, we think you're a pretty good player. And he was not just a good player. He was a great player, but boy, did he get good. And by the way, Steve Nash used to kid me about that when he was playing with the Phoenix Suns. He'd get locked in after a game and everybody wants you to meet Coach Braun. He didn't think I was good enough to play for him. And I said, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, no, he got me a number of times. But, he's revolutionized the game. There's no doubt.
No doubt about that. Ivy Curry hits them both. Stewart misses at the other end. Quickly, Tigers intercepted by Stewart. First turnover of the game for the Tigers. Open lane to the hoop. And Akametu takes advantage.
Like I said, one-on-one containment, that's the biggest challenge in basketball. You must get the ball stopped. Harder to do, easier said than done.
Akametu's had some nice moments in the early going here. Of course, he is replacing Brandon Pajemski, who's out of this game for an undisclosed reason. I was warming up before the game today, but not going in this one. John Justice. Now starting 56 straight games. Has it again. Tries to find Bediako. Too much traffic underneath. Boone with the bump. Nick Blake has it taken away.
There's quick hands on the floor, and Santa Clara's guards showing a lot of quickness as well, not just Pacific, who've made a few steals. Both teams really tough defensively.
Suddenly back-to-back turnovers for the Tigers. Meanwhile, Stewart right to the cup.
Well, that's what shooters can do. He's got the ability to knock down shots, but he's really a threat to the basket. Now it's Santa Clara that's on a little bit of a run here.
Stewart has scored double figures in 11 of the last 12 games. That runner is short. To Justice. He tries from long distance. This is everything.
Well, that was out there.
Yeah.
But you're a senior, you earned that right, and he can knock that shot down. But that was some distance.
From Lodi, there's Brandon Pajemski, a sophomore from Greenfield, Wisconsin.
He's quite a player.
Yep. And you see his numbers, those numbers in particular, all lead this Broncos squad, but he is not playing tonight. Two-time West Coast Conference Player of the Week. I got a chance to add that portfolio here tonight. Meanwhile, the Broncos are now up by 5.
Great move by Brown. He just went to the basket, spun on his offhand, and just got a nice shot, angled shots off the glass. That shot.
10-2 run for the Broncos. Ivy Curry cans it.
Now, you mentioned all the transfers in this game. You can see the experience, Troy. There's guys playing like veterans. There's just no hesitation, confidence. They've been there before. Coaches give them the green lights. And that's what you want with experienced players.
Tigers with Outlaw. A nifty step, but short of the hoop. Quickly at the other end. Justice for three. Side of the rim. Ivy Curry made a bit of a mark. The Conference USA All-Freshman team a couple years ago. He puts it on the floor, gets it to go, and one. Jordan Ivy Curry. At 23 points at Stanford in the season opener on November the 7th. He has the Tigers in striking distance here in the half. Well, one of the WCC's most valued partners, Hercules Tires, wants to support mental health awareness by donating $1 for every free throw made during this year's men's and women's basketball regular season. The donation will be used to benefit student mental health initiatives conference-wide. Hercules Tires, the official tire of the WCC and Mental Health Strong. A thriller of a game so far. We're tied at 29 apiece. Jordan Ivy Curry has really helped to pace the Tigers over the past few minutes. Leonard Perry, the Tigers head coach, said he's tailed off a little bit offensively, but he'll get it going. Maybe that moment is tonight.
He's capable. You can tell his quickness, and I really am impressed with the quickness on both teams. I think both teams have the ability to just beat you in transition and get to the rim. They can really, really attack.
Tigers up by one. Curry, by the way, 8 straight points for the Tigers. 10 to shoot. Corner, Justice finds a way out. 5 to shoot. Tilly working on Boone. The fade just rolls down.
Well, I like the calmness and the confidence as the shot clock goes down. He knew he could get his shot off and really just buried it.
Kristoff played on the German U16 national team. He has some international experience. Ivy Curry's been on fire. That was swatted away by Tilly.
I like the aggressiveness. You've got the tallest man on the floor, 7-footer on you. You've got to try to beat him, but beating him is not hard. Finishing over the top is hard.
Ivy Curry started the first 7 games of the year. Coming off the bench since then. Perhaps sensing how hot Ivy Curry has been of late, we're seeing a lot more bodies come his way whenever he has the ball.
Well, both teams aren't afraid to play their bench, Troy. In a game like this, that's going to be key. If you're not going to play people, your players are going to get fatigued. You got to keep some guys fresh out here. Fast-paced game.
Balovic back in. Step back three for Boone. Too long. Napper brings it across for the Broncos. 6 minutes to go. 31-30. Santa Clara with the 1-point lead. It's been pretty tightly contested so far. Tightly contested between these two teams last year as well. That's a long three from Justice. It hits.
Well, you can see why he yanked on that last shot, not hesitating, because he can't hit that shot. A veteran player.
Justice coming closer and closer to tying Steve Nash for all-time three-pointers. Needs two more. Stewart at the other end. Fouled before he can go up.
Well, actually, that was a good foul. You chased him down from behind. That was going to be a two-point conversion. So you foul. You take the foul, and then you try to see. Look at the steal here. You got to be careful. You can't turn your back, because good defenders like Carlos Stewart are laying in the lurch, as they say, and came up with a great steal.
Stewart short on the first free throw attempt. Turnovers. Pacific have played cleanly the first 8 minutes or so of this game. Hadn't turned it over at all, but now he's a bit more prone in that category over the last couple of minutes.
No, good point, Troy. It was actually Santa Clara that was turnover prone, and that's why they were, in a little bit of trouble. Those are missed empty possessions, but I think both teams have to be careful with turnovers, because the other teams are capable of converting.
Akametu back in for Santa Clara. Wildly off the mark, deflected as well, fighting for it and getting it back is Outlaw, but he's fouled.
Well, actually, again, another good foul. That was going to be a sure 2 points. But, turnovers are starting to mount. Both teams a little bit careless. I think fatigue a little bit, not total fatigue, but just a little sloppy. You don't play, as sure with the ball when you're a little bit tired. You've gone up and down a couple of times. And the pace it's been frenetic.
And how long can you maintain that pace and play clean basketball? It's always a big question as Brown comes out, Tongue comes back in. Owen lost the handle for a second, but fell to a teammate, Dalovich. Odin gets it back, gets some space. Can't convert the jumper. Inside 5 minutes to go. Broncos up by 5. Can Tongue make it an 8-point advantage? No. Falls off to the side. Rebound by Boone. Odom. Nick Blake. Odom keeps it himself. Blake for three. Short. Eventually tracked down by Napper. Outlaw. To a teammate. Blocked from behind. Cameron Tongue. How did that taste? And Tongue at the other end. Short, but foul.
Troy, I thought twice we saw some sure baskets, and defensively, great plays to get back in the action and take away what looked like it was easy 2 points.
Boy, this is well worth another look at both ends.
Great pass, but even better defense. Unbelievable. And then coming back, stopping here, it's just amazing. You can see, I think, both teams just getting hands up and just contesting. That's the name of the game. You must challenge and take away.
Akametu, who is at the other end of that final sequence, misses his first free throw. Sam Freeman in the game for Pacific. It was a tightly contested game in the first half between these two squads last year. Back on January 31st of 2022, Pacific actually led 34-29 at the half. Then the Broncos hit the afterburner, scored 52 points in the second half on route to an 81-59 win.
Well, they can do that. I think both teams explosive when they get things going. So, we talk in defense all the time, coaching-wise, of getting consecutive stops. It doesn't do you any good to get a stop here and a stop there. String 2 or 3 together. You get charted on that, and you really hurt teams if you can do that.
Broncos up by 6. Outlaw almost lost the handle. Martindale, open shot, bang.
You see both teams, what they can do when they get open looks, Troy. So that's the name of the game. Can they test out? Don't give up the open shot. These two teams too good, too proficient from 3.
Speaking of, Keyshawn Justice.
Did I just say that?
You just said that.
Yeah. You know, you better get ahead. You better tell somebody these guys can shoot. You've got to challenge up, Troy, not out. I think defensively, that's something that you really have to challenge your players to do. A hand out, it doesn't do you any good.
Spot on analysis, Coach Braun. Offensive foul. We'll go in Santa Clara's direction.
Phew.
Need a breath?
Yeah, I do.
Well, let's take one. We've gone back and forth for the most part, but Santa Clara with a little bit of separation. Pacific working hard. Martindale keeping the Tigers within striking distance. They're enjoying themselves. We hope you are too. Broncos with a 6-point lead. And don't forget to stick around for the University Credit Union halftime show. We'll chat with Pacific men's water polo coach James Graham. We'll also have the Jersey Mike's first half stats, highlights, and more.
I'm going to pay attention to that interview, Troy. I mean, you think about water polo in this state, you know, great Cal teams, UCLA, USC, Santa Barbara, and now Pacific just carving out their own name. That's just incredible. My daughter plays water polo. It's a tough sport. Not for the faint of heart. You got to be tough and you got to be resilient.
Graham coaches both the men's and women's programs. Looking forward to getting some of his thoughts at the half. How will this first half wind up? Justice gets it back. Finds Stewart. Terrific pass, but maybe a bit too hot to handle for Napa.
Well, that's what you have to do, though, against pressure. You cut back door, but then when the pass comes, you know, both teams have been doing a good job of closing the door and recovering on backdoor cuts and drives.
Ninth turnover for Santa Clara tonight. Freeman. Back to the basket. Finds the right-hand scooper. Wants to get it back. Can't save it.
Well, that's the right idea. You have a mismatch inside, just didn't finish it. I often think that post guys got to slow down, and if they can't come away with the basket, Troy, get the foul, because there's no way you can be guarded one-on-one by a player that's 6 inches shorter than you. So you know, but I like the strategy. Go inside and try to create mismatches.
Bediako back in. The Broncos. Brown looking for help. Blocked by Freeman. Tries again. More successful the second time around.
Well, I love the second effort. You don't, you know, you get your shot blocked and you go back and you get your rebound and you just put it right back. Go ahead. Shot block means nothing. If you get the offensive rebound, utilize it.
Stick-to-itiveness.
I love it.
Martindale loses it on the way out. That's a turnover.
You know, again, look at the hands. Troy, I wish there was a chart. Just how many times there's deflections, how many times they're just, you can see how quick hands are, and you know, you get beat, but when you get beat, don't give up on the play. Continue to harass, and they're getting, both teams paying dividends here.
Brown getting his hand in there, and Justice from the corner.
I love the senior. He's just, again, better and better every year.
Broncos with their biggest lead of the game. They're up 11. Inside 2 minutes to go first half. It's a 10-3 run for Santa Clara.
You know, Troy, that's another thing I think that teams should look at, and I know coaches do, and we'll see this again, but, you know, if you look at how many times fifth-year seniors or just seniors, by the time you get to be a senior, and sometimes you don't get to that a lot with teams and programs, but you can see the improvement, how really valuable it is to have a guy with that kind of experience on your squad.
Oh, by the way, we're on milestone alert now. Keyshawn Justice's next three-pointer will give him more than Steve Nash. All time for Santa Clara. Next one will retire, excuse me.
Well, I would have recruited Justice because he's from Madison. That's my alma mater. You can't let him go.
Your old stomping ground.
I wouldn't have lost him. Herb Sendek would not have gotten him. Trust me on that one. UW, come on. I would have found a way to get him out of there.
There would have been a recruiting battle on that one. So his next three-pointer will pass Steve Nash. So that clarification there.
Pretty good company.
Yes, indeed. Sendek not happy with that at all.
He's trying to plead his case here. And, you know, we'll see it again here, Troy. Let's take a look at it. And, you know, he's saying there's a little bit of a, I think, well, he's really hot.
Dolovich hits the free throw.
And this is usually when one of your assistants has to grab you because you don't want to get another technical. And official doing a good job letting Herb Sendek plead his case. I like officials that will let you blow off a little steam, that don't referee out of anger.
As a former head coach yourself, did you have to scout the officials from that standpoint, knowing what you could get away with certain guys?
Yeah, sometimes, you know whether certain guys you had a limit.
For three, no good. Tried to sky high and grab the rebound. And finally taken by the Broncos. Stewart, 1-on-3. The math not good there. But taking it to the cup. And foul.
Well, there's the official thing, and you're getting the next call, and that was the right call. But you know, sometimes you have to make your point, Troy, because it does affect maybe the next call that's close.
Right.
And I'm not saying officials just automatically make it up, but they're human, and so you know, I like it. And you know, these coaches are passionate. They're going to fight for their team. I always felt if my players knew I was fighting for them, they'd fight a little harder.
Napper at the free throw line. And this is the first.
Well, Santa Clara is shooting pretty good, 72% on the year, so they're used to making free throws.
Brenton's older brother, Brandon, plays for Eastern Kentucky. That's a freshman from Ontario, California. Hits the second. 45-34.
Well, this last minute's going to be really big for Pacific. They can't afford to go down by more. They've got to climb back, cut this to single digits if they can.
Odom finds Freeman and puts it down.
Well, I love the concentration, the execution of that two-man game. Excellent job. Now they've got to get a stop and see if they can just, you know, get one or two more opportunities to dwindle this lead down. They don't want to go in the locker room down, you know, with more than 10 points.
Final minute first half. Napper gets a little space, a bit too strong. Rebound by Tilly. Justice wide open. Got it.
There's that man.
And he passes Steve Nash on Santa Clara's all-time three-pointer list.
So there's the one guy you don't want to leave open. He's just steady, confident, and historic in the same breath.
A half-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Martindale.
Yes. Great look. Excellent look at it all the way to the rim and just found the furthest man from the ball who is usually left alone. Great presence of mind to find his teammate.
3 seconds from long range. Got it. Santa Clara has made 5 of its last 6 three-pointers. One of them in historic fashion. And they blow open what was once a close game, and they lead by 12 to break.
Santa Clara missing their best player. No problem. Carlos Stewart in the house. Big-time shot. Let's watch it again. Here it is. He sizes it, knows he's got time left, doesn't drive, pulls up, and that's a huge shot for the Broncos, giving them a lift going into the halftime.
Santa Clara found an extra gear in the final 8+ minutes of this first half and they lead the Pacific Tigers 51-39. Impressive stuff all the way around for the Broncos, who are playing without their best player. How will things fare in the second half? We'll find out in a few moments, but first, our halftime show featuring Pacific women's and men's water polo coach James Green. Stick around. Back to Spanos Center in just a moment. Yep. WCC Halftime has been brought to you by University Credit Union, who invite you to experience the credit union difference. To learn more about the benefits of banking with a cooperative, visit ucu.org today. Kids are having fun here at Spanos Center. The Broncos had a lot of fun the final 8 minutes of the first half as they lead the Pacific Tigers 51-39. And we have a special guest joining us here courtside at the Spanos Center. It is the head coach of Pacific men's and women's water polo, James Graham. James, thanks a bunch. Appreciate you stopping by. Big things.
Oh, appreciate you having us.
You bet. And, of course, the big news is that the men's water polo program is joining the West Coast Conference this upcoming fall. What does that move mean for the program?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, obviously the West Coast Conference is known all across the country for a lot of premier sports, right? And we get a chance to join that. So it's a big thing from a recognition standpoint. It's also just a great group of programs that are all going to be a part of this. I believe it's going to be one of the elite conferences in the country, and so we're excited to be a part of it and compete for championships.
And no shortage of talent, especially around this area, up and down the West Coast. I'm sure that that's going to be a big factor in things going forward as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most of the teams that are going to be in the West Coast Conference are ranked in the top 20, and a few of them are in the top 10. So it is going to be a dogfight each and every season, and there's a lot of chances for programs to compete for national championships. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, Tigers did some fantastic things last year. Number 5 ranking along the way. What were some of your big moments and your big points of pride from last season for the Tigers?
Well, I mean, last year was obviously great making the NCAA. It started out well for us in the beginning of the season, taking down USC at home. And that was a huge win that kind of really gave us the belief and the confidence that, hey, we can compete with anyone in the nation this year and we have a chance to go after a national championship. And then winning the GCC, which was huge, beating Long Beach State, who was one of the top 5 programs in the country at that point in time, and then putting ourselves into the semifinals at NCAA and getting a chance to play Cal at Cal, who ended up becoming the national champions. So overall, I think it was an amazing year. A lot of things to learn. And hopefully, we're going to be able to take those things forward and eventually bring one of those trophies home.
Tell me about the mantra, Water Polo U. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the greatest places in the country to play water polo, to experience water polo. I mean, if you look at it from top to bottom, the support we get from our athletic department, to the president coming to every game or traveling on the road even to come see games, the tailgates and the all the highlights and everything that we do at our events that is kind of unique and one of a kind. It's a great place to coach. It's a great place to play, and it's a great place to come watch a game. I'm sure that a lot of teams out there don't enjoy coming to play at Pacific. I know, like I mentioned, USC, we've been able to beat them 4 of the last 5 times they've shown up here. So we're a tough place to play, and that's kind of what makes us water polo.
Well, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how things shake out with the move up to the West Coast Conference on the men's side, and the women, of course, doing great things as well. James, thanks so much. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
That is the head coach for Pacific men's and women's water polo, James Graham. More from halftime. Broncos ahead by 12 over the Pacific Tigers. Stats and highlights in just a moment. WCC Basketball is brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. The University Credit Union halftime show continues. A look at our first half stats delivered by Jersey Mike's. Both teams feeling it from beyond the arc, but look at the field goal percentage for Santa Clara in particular, 58%. And again, that's without Brandon Pajemski, who is missing this game for undisclosed reasons. Santa Clara with a 12-point lead over the Tigers at the half. But that, of course, is only the half of it. Second half coming up in just a few moments between the Broncos and the Tigers. Coming to you from Stockton. About to begin the second half between Santa Clara and Pacific. There is your up-to-the-date list of career three-pointers made in Santa Clara men's basketball history. Late in the first half, Deshaun Justice passing up Steve Nash.
Well, and also Rodney Foster's brother, Kevin Foster and Jared Brownridge. I coached against those guys, and those are two pretty good players. He's chasing them down as well.
All right, now Pacific trying to chase down Santa Clara. Broncos got some distance, 12 points as we begin the second half. The putback from Bediako, second effort, scores.
Again, I like the fact that you just don't quit on your shot. That's just huge. They've got size in their front line. They're a big team up front, and they made the Tigers pay.
We've seen that on a couple of occasions for Santa Clara tonight. As we're away from the ball.
Well, they say the first few minutes of the half and maybe the end of the half are important. Think about that now, Troy. You've got obviously the three-point shot at the end of the first half, and now the start here on offensive putback. That's the way you want to end the half and start a half.
Immediate turnover. Impeded that one. 15 points finds Bediako underneath. Can he get up a shot? No. Deflected, altered, out of bounds. Santa Clara ball.
Well, you can see Deshaun Justice is a problem for the Tigers because he's a kind of a versatile guy that does a little bit of everything. Yeah, he's not just a shooter. He can put it down. He's a great passer. Strong, keeps the ball alive.
You're the Tigers. What are some things you can do to get back into this one?
Well, you got to pressure and you got to challenge up. And And you got to try to get up and down the floor a little bit. I think Pacific's got some good quickness, and so you've got to take advantage of your quickness. Turn it up defensively a little bit. You got to make Santa Clara a little more uncomfortable. They're a little bit too comfortable right now.
Justice with 15 points, 19 of 33 in the first half from the floor. 58%.
Yeah, you want to knock them off that ridge. You just that's again feeling a little bit too good about yourself.
Law finds Poon. He wasn't quite ready for it. Adalovich. Odom with 10 to shoot. Step back three. Bang. And Odom with the interception. Doesn't have numbers. Tries to weave. Outside. Martindale. Long shot. No. Outlaw. Off the mark. More Odom with the nifty play to get it back. Tigers couldn't quite finish. Bediako has that one a bit too strong. Rebounded by Martindale. Now, I like what Leonard Perry said about Mo Odom. You know, you ask a coach what he likes about a kid, and you expect to hear some of the same platitudes. That he works hard, great leader, this and that. Perry said that Odom's a great listener.
Now,
coaches appreciate that too.
Troy, music to a coach's ears. Trust it. And parent, by the way, too.
5 to shoot. Martindale puts it up and drains it.
Well, the problem for the Tigers now has got to be defense. You've got to match your offensive intensity in getting some stops right here.
Yeah, Justice had a quick look, but it didn't go. Odom out. Martindale again. Too short.
Well, that would have got the crowd back in this one.
Yep. Straightaway three. Stewart. Back to the rim. Brown fighting for it with Outlaw. Out of bounds. It remains. Trying to play the ball.
Well, you say, Troy, what can you do? You've got to try to win some 50-50 balls. Maybe take a few charges, get a couple of steals, and just get yourself going. Get some easy baskets, but you do that on the defensive end. But you can see that, the Tigers have some guys that are pretty adept at knocking down shots themselves.
Dale starting the last 3 games, put up 19 on Pepperdine last week. Chicago is certain to shoot like he's capable of. Bediako underneath. Boy, a battle between Bediako and Poon.
I like the fact that Santa Clara is not just depending on shots. They're knocking down some shots, but they're utilizing their inside strength. Bediako certainly gives them that. He's a big presence inside. He waits, takes it, doesn't put the ball, bring it down, and he draws the foul. That's what you want to do.
15 points and 11 boards against Wyoming on November 30th. His lone double-double of the season to this point. Bediako, born in Chicago, moved to Brampton, Ontario, just outside of Toronto at age 2. He's out there ever since. 10-point game. Martindale. Whistle away from the ball. Well, on Pacific.
They're trying to get Adalovich, free. And obviously he's lethal if you can get open looks. He can get open looks, but Santa Clara knows that. Teams know that. That's why he's not getting a lot, as many maybe shots as a guy that shoots his percentage should, because teams are taking away what he does so well. And that's something that, they're going to have to find a way just somehow to get some open looks for him.
Poon's third foul. Napper, the nifty runner. 12-point game.
Like Santa Clara's ability to get to the basket, they really have shown you, with multiple players, their ability to get to the rim.
Outside, Freeman. Martindale on the floor. Outside, Outlaw for 3. Got it.
Well, they're shooting the ball pretty well, but they've got to get Santa Clara again off their rhythm. Whatever it takes, Troy.
Well, it's a 9-point game right now. Napper tries to go underneath, doesn't have a clean lane. Still doesn't have a clean lane, but he's able to get it up and through anyway.
They seemed to be hung in the air just that extra second. They both went up. He hung up around a little longer. Was able to get that shot off.
Pacific 3 of 5 from three-point land so far in this half. Try for 2 here and hit it. Oldham hands it in the paint.
Now, good rhythm from both teams, but it's really the Tigers that just have to find a way to slow down the Broncos.
I think it stops at some point if you're Pacific. Justice has been money for much of the night. Stewart, high, arcing, short. Well, that's one stop for Pacific. Tripped up. Timeout on the floor. Stewart gets called for the foul. 12-point lead at the break. 9-point lead right now for Santa Clara. Pacific trying to make a move. Today's game is brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength by visiting HerculesTires.com. And by Nike, a proud partner of the WCC. It's a Nick Bosa jersey in the stands here at Spanos Center. I'm sure he's a happy young man. 49ers advancing in the NFL playoffs. Meanwhile, here at Spanos Center, 2 teams trying to advance in the West Coast Conference standings. Right now, Santa Clara with a 9-point lead over Pacific and doing well, or at least Pacific's doing well, from beyond the arc.
Well, Pacific's a good free throw shooting team. They've got to find a way also, Troy, to get to the foul line. And there's an illegal screen. But if they can get to the foul line, that's going to help them. But guess what? Santa Clara's number 19 in the country and not allowing you to get there. They've only given up 9 made free throws a game. That's top 20. I think it's 19th in the country. So harder to get to the line against Santa Clara. They're a pretty savvy defensive team. They play inside out, and they don't generally foul a lot.
Well, and how many times can you get back into a game by doing your best work at the free throw line? Well, it helps out a lot.
Stops the clock. You can do a lot of damage when the clock stops.
Meanwhile, Brown wide open underneath, deflected by Martindale. And did he have a foot on the line before it could get going? I believe so.
That's a late call, but I've always said better late than never. That's too bad for Santa Clara. That was going to be a good opportunity on the fast break went the other way. But let's see. He goes out of bounds, and he left his feet from out of bounds to tip it. They think they're going to look. Maybe they're going to review it.
I thought that right foot may have come back and perhaps touched the line.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I think I love that officials now have the opportunity to go to the monitor. Fans maybe don't like it, stops the game, but you want to get the call right.
Yeah.
But that's a great opportunity that, really a good opportunity. If they go the other direction, Troy, if you get a 2 or a 3, it's then down to a 2-possession game. So that's a huge call. But I still like the way that Santa Clara or that the Pacific's playing. Their defense is starting to get better.
Santa Clara has missed 8 of their last 11 attempts from the floor.
There's always a cause and effect, in my opinion. And here it is. So did he come down first? And it looks like he did go directly from out of bounds to get his hands on the ball. But remember the rule, Troy. You must be able to overrule the ruling. It's got to be evidence that refutes, totally refutes it. It can't be. It's got to be overwhelming. So if it's not, the ball will stay here.
And as I look at this angle, it wasn't Martindale's foot that may have come back and hit the line. It was a teammate.
Well, either way, we're staying here. No argument from the Santa Clara bench and Herb Sendek, so I think you'll live with this one.
Back to action. And Brown with a nice move, a pretty shimmy shake off the glass.
Great, just poise, ability to go up. That's just an unstoppable shot at his size. And going over the top, that's almost a jump hook.
You sure there's no relation?
Well, now there is. I'll take all credit.
Along with the coach, Ben Braun, I'm Troy Clarity. It's great to have you with us here on a Saturday evening in Stockton. Outside, Dalvich, foul.
Well, that's what he's got to do, Troy, because as good as he is, as tough a shooter as he is, he's going to get played hard at the three-point line. So what does that mean? That he's just got to know he's got to be able to put it down and make a play for himself or a play for his teammates. That's an automatic.
Luke in his 6th year of eligibility. Coming into this game, shooting 59% from three-point range. That is a number that would lead Division I. You got to play 75% of your team's games and make 2.5 three-pointers per game. He's played 100% of his games, but it made just 2.4 three-pointers per game coming into this.
It still doesn't change his percentage. That's just a knockdown percentage, 60% of your threes.
Dalvich is knocked down himself.
Yeah, he's got to keep playing. They're going to play him physically, but you got to know that when you're a shooter.
Yeah. Williams trying to fight off Akametu.
Well, that call might have gone either way because he did hook, but what comes first, the hook or the contact? And so if the contact comes first, that's what the call. But I like the fact that Pacific is trying to get back in the game, and they're drawing fouls. That's a huge stab. Here it is. There's contact, and then the hook came, I think, after the contact. Good call by the officials.
Yeah, that's Akametu's 4th.
Yeah, that's significant.
Quick inbound, Martindale. Deflected. Stewart dumps it down.
Well, he's a problem defensively, and he's just a pest on the floor. Nothing easy when you're playing against him. You've got to be awfully sure he doesn't get his hands on the ball.
Has now scored double figures in 12 of his last 13 games. And here come the Broncos again. In the corner, Napper, short. Here to Martindale. Ivy Curry had a nice little run late in the first half, but can't get this one to finish.
Again, Pacific's having problems scoring over a little bit taller, rangier team in Santa Clara.
Stewart for 3. No. Overall, though, slowly but surely, Santa Clara starting to get a little bit more breathing room against the Tigers. Still plenty of ball left to be played. Tyler Beard and Jordan Ivy Curry. On the floor, a little bit of a pump, and gets it to fall. Donovan Williams working hard.
I like Donovan Williams. He's able to play through contact. A lot of players can't.
He is named Mr. Basketball in the state of Nebraska.
Well, something to be said for skill and toughness, Troy. I always felt a player with skill and he had toughness. That's a really good combination.
Now, on Pacific, Stewart goes to the line. He had 14 points against Pacific in January of last year. Coach Sendek says he has made significant leaps from last season.
Now, these two teams speak to the level of the WCC. Troy, I think that if you're watching this game and you're seeing the way these two teams are competing, this league is not just about Gonzaga. It's not just about St. Mary's. And you know, these teams have battled. These two teams have won 20 plus. They've gone to the finals of their tournament, and so again, the WCC is a conference that's gotten better every single year that I've been around it.
Yeah, and even though St. Mary's and Gonzaga are the only undefeated teams in conference play as of this moment anyway, we'll see what happens later on tonight, still so much more than just those two teams up and down the conference. In the paint, nice finish, Tyler Beard.
Now, I had Portland and I had USF the other night, and both of those teams, I don't want to play them. They're playing at a really high level.
USF hosting St. Mary's tonight. Fun on the hilltop.
Now, Chris Bertelsen doing a good job. Shante Leggin's doing a really good job for Portland.
Tongue can't get that one to fall. Our friends Barry Tompkins, Casey Jacobs, who will have that call for you, by the way. Coast to coast. Beard getting hot.
Well, Tompkins, my friend. Not Casey Jacobs. He burned me too many times at Stanford. We got him a couple times, not many. And I don't call him my friend. He's an acquaintance. But I love those two guys. They're synonymous with the Bay Area and California basketball. They've covered it all.
Rocky Ford was on the other night, by the way, speaking of Barry Tompkins. Step back from Stewart. Not quite. Second effort, Tilly finishes.
But you see the size and the strength of Santa Clara, and again, they're playing without their top leading scorer. Amazing, their effort in his absence.
UAP is at 5. The last 6. Timeout. On the floor. Nothing like a steal and a slam. Carlos Stewart pulling off both feet. And the Broncos up by 11. Well, believe it or not, March Madness is right around the corner, including this year's University Credit Union WCC basketball tournament from Las Vegas. Visit WCCSports.com for matchups, brackets, and everything you need to know for this year's tournament. It's never too early to pay attention to net rankings. We present the latest ones up to the minute for you right here and now. And, of course, the WCC well represented, especially with a couple of teams in the top 15.
No, this is really amazing. You know, I mentioned earlier about Portland and obviously, and USF and some of the wins they've had. But look at the top of the league and the net rankings certainly recognized as the top teams in the country, tournament worthy.
Talking to Leonard Perry before the game. Got his thoughts on the West Coast Conference. His Beard drives, pinned, and Bediako takes it back. He said, look, this is as well coached as any league out there.
No, I know. I played these schools at home. I didn't play them on the road for good reasons. They were good. They were getting better. The league was always making its mark, but now it's at the top of its game.
San Diego is loaded. Portland dangerous. Pepperdine is a potential lottery pick. Hid Justice from way outside. Foul goes against the Broncos.
Now, you know, again, I just had the game. I mentioned it already, but Portland, they should have beat North Carolina. They should have beat Michigan State. And those coaches said that. They did beat Villanova. And USF, they just destroyed Arizona State, who's a phenomenal team. Probably Hurley having his best season there. And those teams went in there and just took care of business. And the Pac-12's got some pretty good teams in the league this year. So the WCC is really on the move. They're on a climb. And as Leonard says, the coaching has been solid, but they're getting good players, and there's parity now. So top to bottom, this is a killer league.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where I was when I was watching those scores from Arizona State and USF come in, but I was like, holy cow.
No, and that caught them by surprise because they were playing so well, and they're still playing well. Yep. I mean, they're playing at the top of the league. So just no easy stops in this conference. And you have veteran coaches in here. Leonard Perry been coaching at several stops. A proven winner and Herb Sendek. Lorenzo Romar's down at Pepperdine, who I know well. I mean, just great coaches up and down this league.
Blake hits one or two. Stewart hits from the baseline.
He's been a problem all game for the Tigers. He's just made a difference in his teammates' absence. He's just stepped up and been huge.
15 points on the night for the sophomore from Baton Rouge. No look, back to Boone. Boone gets it back, gets everything except the hoop.
Rim's not kind. That usually doesn't happen at home. Those are you usually get that bounce.
Long three from Brown. Snatched by Boone momentarily. And a foul.
Well, that was our danger. I mean, it's an aggressive play by Bediako, but by the same token, now it's just giving Pacific a chance to get back in this game with fouls. But you can see here, look at, he does everything but finish. That's supposed to be your rim. Come on. Talk to your guys here. The maintenance got to loosen those rims a little bit. Did we used to do that when I coached? I plead the fifth. One rim was always a little loose than the other. I just said it was the manufacturer's problem.
Surely the statute of limitations is running out.
No,
Boone with the free throw.
But here's the free throw story I was talking about. The clock stops. We alluded to it. They can make this move, cut it to 10, maybe get it back in the in single digits. Then it's a 2-3 possession game. But they've got to get there, and they've got to do it defensively. Santa Clara's been too good offensively. Find something that you can, but they're going to go in their press. I like this full court pressure and trap out of it. I like the move by Leonard Perry.
Yeah, Broncos have been good offensively, but that being said, they haven't quite found a big run to put on the knockout blow to this point. Through the pressure defense, Stewart settles it down. Napper off the side of the rim. Justice gets it back, and Brown saves it.
That's a good rebound because Santa Clara, got an offensive rebound, saved that possession.
Justice has tried 13 shots tonight, 12 of them from beyond the arc. Pretty jumper from Carlos Stewart, who cannot be stopped.
No, that's money. That's just money in the bank. Count it, go the other direction. He's just feeling it. And once a good player's in his rhythm, it's too late.
Ivan Curry gets it back and scores.
I thought that Pacific did a good job in the zone last possession. They just didn't rebound out of it, but that was a good move. I think it caught Santa Clara off guard. They're back in the zone now, but they've got a rebound out of this.
Justice underneath Bediako. Second effort scores.
That's what you do when you got that size. You get it up off the glass and nail it.
Broncos up by 12. Blake has an open three. Just slips out. Brown the rebound. Santa Clara slowing it down just a bit.
You see Herb Sendek, he's saying, let's run our stuff. But again, the zone, just a little different look. Now they're going back, man.
Brown. Really skies high. Snatches the rebound. Inside 8 to go. Boone wide open three. In and out. That has been the rule instead of the exception for Pacific over the last couple of minutes.
That looked good, too.
Lost the handle, tripped up before he can get going. Stewart says, what did I do? That is a foul on Carlos Stewart. 73-61, Santa Clara trying for a big win in West Coast Conference play. There's an up-to-the-minute look at our Ticket Smarter WCC scoreboard. Gonzaga up 20 over Portland. St. Mary's, the other undefeated team in West Coast Conference play. They'll get going at 8 p.m. tonight on the Hilltop. LMU leading USD by 9 midway through the first half. BYU on top of Pepperdine in Provo.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that St. Mary's, San Francisco. That's always been an interesting matchup. Those two teams battle. I mean, they're just 15 minutes across the bridge, or 20 or so. But they just have had some good matchups down through the years.
You might need to find a spot to check that game out on the WCC network.
Oh, don't worry. I got it.
Before you make the drive back.
No, there's no question. And if somebody gets laryngitis, I'll go do the game.
You hear that, Barry and Casey?
Yeah.
Y'all are on notice.
Yeah, I'm putting them both on notice. Now, that's going to be a fun game, and no question. If you haven't seen these two teams play, they're entertaining. Both teams love the three. Talk about analytics, talk about strategy, and some of the coaches have changed. They've coached in both of those programs and gone on. Todd Golden, a very successful coach who played at St. Mary's. Chris Gerlitsen, Kyle Smith, really good coaches that have come out of really the St. Mary's program and gone on to coach at USF.
Of course, St. Mary's with that well-publicized pipeline to Down Under.
Oh, brutal.
Terrific players from Australia over the years. Blake hits the free throw, 73-63.
Well, here's the press, and again, they're going to try to at least have Santa Clara play a little bit, maybe on a shorter clock, press, go back, zone or man, but don't give them as much time to get a good look to the basket.
Justice, just a second shot from inside the arc. Out of bounds, off of whom? Pacific, Santa Clara,
and Pacific's got to put two hands on the ball. I know that's, I'm not trying to be critical, but that's just in the heat of the battle. On defense, you need two on the ball. On offense, you can tip one, but you've got to come away with that rebound. When they go back and look at this, you're going to say, geez, we had that. But when you play against physical teams, you tend to just try to get a hand on the ball, but you got to really secure the basketball. They're within striking distance, Clara.
Yep.
They have to do everything right now. They can't afford to give away opportunities.
Yeah, a lot of dominoes have to fall in Pacific's favor from here on out. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, they've got to do anything back.
That's the handle, and the foul is called on Pacific.
That's a foul, but I don't mind really. Is Carter Brown, is he losing control a little bit? Is he charging? Is he leaning his shoulder? Let's see. He leans in, he kind of travels, maybe travels first before there's contact, and that's the argument that Pacific is making. But I like being aggressive. You know, Leonard Perry does not like to call, and I understand that. But I like the way his team's playing. His team's playing aggressive. It's going to pay off for him. Continue to play that way.
Well, he says they're building something. Justice. He's on with a whistle along the way.
Well, it's interesting when they need a score, they need to put the ball in somebody's hands that can get them something when their team needs it. It's Keyshawn Justice. He's just been around the basketball. We talked about how he's made his mark now at the three-point line and scoring, but he just seems to make every basket when his team needs him most.
All West Coast Conference second team last year. One of two guys on the Santa Clara roster from the Badger State. Keyshawn from Madison, Wisconsin. Of course, Brandon Pajemski from Greenfield, Wisconsin.
No, he's out, so they're doing this without him.
17 now for Justice. Business during this. Pajemski out of this game for those reasons. Santa Clara has been able to pick up the slack in his absence. 10 to shoot. Williams trying to find a way out. 5 to shoot. Ivy Curry. Short. Rebound eventually falls to Santa Clara.
Good defense by the Broncos on that possession.
That's what they need in order to keep their distance away from the Tigers. Justice puts it on the floor and gets it to go. 19 now for Justice.
Yeah, just really tough stopping him, because just when you think he can knock him, he can guard him from the three, but he gets the basket, get his own shot off, uses his body so well.
Ivy Curry off the rim and over the backboard.
Well, you can see Santa Clara why they're near the top of the league. They really have some weapons, and you know, this is a weapon. He's legit. He just knows. He takes his time. Not the fastest player on the floor, but he's one of the most assured players on the floor. And Herb Sendek will take a timeout. I think it's a good timeout. Talk about some things. Don't rest because you're up. And, you know, they're a man down. So I think getting a break is pretty good.
Santa Clara with a 14-point lead. 5:59 to go in the second half. And they're doing it without Pajemski. Today's WCC action is brought to you by Ticket Smarter. Proud to be the official ticket resale partner of the WCC. Nothing beats the power and excitement of live events like Ticket Smarter. Visit ticketsmarter.com today. And by Cal Hope. Visit calhope.org today for free mental health help. Let's look at the Stephen C. and Patricia A. Schott Athletic Excellence Center on the campus of Santa Clara University, and they are proud of that place.
Well, and so is Herb Sendick. He loves it. And Renee Baumgartner gave me a personal tour when they broke ground, and she's done a great job, their athletic director, of putting that thing together. Why? Because it gives coaches and players, Troy, an extra facility. They're not sharing a facility. And guess what? It's attractive to future recruits.
You can get a little crowded when you've got 2 basketball programs, volleyball programs, wrestling maybe as well. Justice for 3. Once again, back is the incredible Keyshawn Justice.
Oh, to have a senior.
22 points. Bo Odom finds Blake underneath. Outlaw fearing, puts it up, gets it to fall, and one.
Well, you can see the potential of this Pacific team. I think they're playing anybody else today. The way they're playing, they can make some noise, but they're playing against Santa Clara, who's really at the top of their game. But look at their ability to get to the basket. I mean, that's quickness. They have guys that can do that up and down the roster, obviously. And you know, Leonard Perry's putting something together that's going to be pretty special. You got to look at where he's going. You know, he's not there yet, but he's definitely going in the right direction. This is a good team, and they've got some guys that really work hard.
Yeah, he's got a good team, and I think more importantly, he's got a group of guys that he likes. That was very evident in my conversation with him. He said, look, we have 9 new kids on the team. Thought there would be some highs and lows. They did start off 2-5, but they've gone 8-4 since then. But they stayed the course and hung in there with them, and they've played much better since that early tough start.
They did, and you know, he was a big part of the success they had when David Stoudemire was here, and that's important. He understands what it takes at Pacific. He was there. You know, it's not theory for him. He's done it. He's had his team get to where they want to get to. They were very successful.
Broncos up by 16. They were up by 17 a couple moments ago. That's their largest lead of the game. Grab by Christoph Tilley. Evans said after he went to North Dakota and played against the Bison and against the University of North Dakota and hit just about every shot imaginable. I thought, wow, we might have a pretty nice hot shooting team. Then they lost 4 in a row, all at home.
Yeah,
but again, they stayed the course.
No, they
hung
did.
in there.
They did, and you're going to see this team make some noise. No question. I like their attitude. You know, they're not looking at the scoreboard. They're not putting their heads down. They can just continue to play. But I've said this already. Santa Clara is playing at a high level. You know, sometimes you have to give your opponents credit. And I think Santa Clara is really, I mean, they're just really playing well. So that's not a discredit to Pacific. Herb Sendick has his team playing at an awfully high level right now.
Tilley comes off. And this was a Santa Clara squad that last week had Gonzaga almost right where they wanted them, up by 1 with 1:30 to go. But couldn't close it out. The Bulldogs got the 5-point win.
Now, not many teams can do that, but Santa Clara certainly had them in a very vulnerable position. But, you know, the timeout here now, we're going to get a chance to just see what we want to do down the stretch.
4:13 to go in this one. Santa Clara trying to get back into the win column. They're up by 15 on the Tigers. Broncos up by 15 and trying to close out the Pacific Tigers. Let's talk about the Wayback Machine for a moment, although it feels kind of weird to say way back for 3 years ago or so, but that's a look at the 2019 Pacific basketball squad. Hey, who are those two guys in the back row? The head coach for that squad, David Stoudemire, and the associate head coach, Leonard Perry. Of course, Leonard running the show here in Stockton now, and David Stoudemire on the coaching staff for the Boston Celtics.
Now, David Stoudemire is a winner. I've known Damon a long time. In fact, gave Damon an opportunity. I always brag about this. His first coaching job back when I was at Rice, and what a great addition. He is somebody who was always destined to coach, and has done a great job. But what he and Leonard Perry put together was just really, and I covered their teams and came down to watch them several times. Great job that they did. They know what it takes. They had Pacific rolling during the time that they were together. And it'll be back. Pacific basketball will be back.
And Damon and Leonard Perry still talk quite often. In fact, they talk probably at least once a day, even to this day.
No, it's incredible. Coaches just, oh my goodness. Where is, there's no answer right now against Keyshawn Justice, but yeah, they just, you build that relationship and you do something special. You're friends for life.
Keyshawn Justice is 2 away from his career high, by the way. He's got 24. Leonard Perry said David Stoudemire is a bright mind. He's smart, an excellent on-floor coach, and really good with people. Says even now, he just asks him questions all the time. In fact, they talked about this very game on Thursday. Meanwhile, they might be talking a lot about Keyshawn Justice after the night he's had to.
Yeah, I don't know what you do to slow him down because he's at really interesting size. He's not a big power forward, but he's not yet a guard, an off guard. He's that in-between size that just gives you fit. Somebody says, well, where will he, what position is he? Who cares? He's a basketball player. And that you show me a guy that's a basketball player, he'll find ways to play. It's just, he's done so well for his team.
Martindale makes 1 of 2. Outlaw gets it back. It's foul.
Well, you're seeing what Pacific can do. If they can get in a rhythm, they just haven't been able to slow down basically Keyshawn Justice, but Santa Clara in general, because it's not just a one-man show. They're leading scores out. You would know it. Troy, that's the biggest compliment you can pay to this team. They're playing without their leading scorer, and they might be playing as good a basketball as they've played all year long.
And this against a Pacific team that had won 3 in a row. That streak will end tonight, barring any comebacks of biblical proportions. But a Pacific team that had really been putting together a lot of terrific things and still has the chance to do so.
Now, if you're a fan of Pacific, you've got to be encouraged. They've got the future's bright. They've got some good young players, and they play the right way. They play hard. They're running into a buzzsaw. Again, Santa Clara is just really at the top of their game.
Tigers have already surpassed their win total from last year. Justice for 3. In and out. Ediaco. Justice with 24 points. His career high is 26. Did that against San Diego back in January 2020. Shimmy shake. Lets loose. Off the mark. Inside 3 minutes to go. Out of bounds.
And you saw their best shooter spotting up. They just couldn't get him the ball. That's been a tough spot here. Balavic is not able to get off the Schneider. When you shoot 60 from 3, you want him to get involved if you can. He's a big-time shooter. Love it. Rondo. Love that play, but again, it's just it may be a little bit too much, a little too little, too late. And you can see the poise of Santa Clara. They know when to slow it down and when to push.
Well, and right, the tape doesn't lie, right? You're down by 12. The game probably out of reach for you, given that there was 2:17 left in the clock. Who's going to keep playing? Who's going to keep competing?
Well, believe it or not, Troy, you're still playing for your next game. Yep. And I know that sounds, maybe for a viewer, like, what do you mean? You still have to keep your dauber up. You got to play hard. You got to know that your time is coming.
Boom gets the finish after the nifty assist from Beard.
And there's a good play, and that's what I'm talking about. Again, you cut this thing now down to 10, and you say stranger things have happened. Believe me, I've seen, and you've seen, and our viewers have seen teams down 10 points with 2 minutes to go and come back and win. It's not impossible. Other teams have to make free throws. You got to put them to the line. They have to play against your best defense. Now the crowd maybe gets back into it, so they're not going away. I love the spirit of this Pacific Tiger team, and again, attributed to their coach, the coaching staff. They're doing a very good job.
Well, let's bring you our Hercules Tires strong move of the game. Carlos Stewart coming up big time and time again, especially throughout the early portion of the second half.
Yeah, there it is. There's that man, Carlos Stewart, just getting his hands on loose balls, deflections, and just making him pay. You know, you take him off the floor, and they still have Keyshawn Justice. But if one of those two guys maybe is not having a good game, you know, I think Pacific's in this game, but both of those guys, I mean, they're playing as well as I've seen them play. Not that they haven't played well earlier this year, but my goodness, those two guys have been a solid 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that was just a sequence where Stewart was absolutely lethal. That is our Hercules Tires strong move of the game. Hercules Tires ride on our strength.
Well, here's the press. Now you see if you can either get a steal or maybe a foul and play the free throw game if you have to. But try to get a steal before you foul. Well, there's a start. I mean, now you're getting some deflections, and maybe you come away. Again, they come back and score it or get a three. That's a two-possession game, so there's time left, Troy.
Round to inbound.
But you can see Herb Sendek saying, look, we want time. Take 15. Take the top shot clock. Come away, but don't give them opportunities. There's only so much time left in this game.
10 to shoot. Stewart. Fouled. Trying to get through the traffic. Herb Sendek. Glad that you and the two of you were able to catch up before the game today.
Goodness, we've gone back so many years. I coached against him when I was at Eastern Michigan. He was at Miami. We both had NCAA teams and went at each other. Then we go in Cal and North Carolina State, played them twice in the NCAA tournament. Got them once, and they got us back. Didn't like that. And then we went at each other when he was at Arizona State. So I've known Herb, you know, throughout my whole coaching career. Just a phenomenal coach and even better guy.
In Las Vegas, the West Coast Conference men's basketball tournament. Single season tickets are available. Oh, it's such a fantastic event down at the Orleans Arena. This year's promises to be no different. Boom, from the corner. Yes.
And you see why you can't relax against Pacific. They've got weapons.
9-point game.
Again, you know, you probably have to go out there and probably take a foul here after you let the clock keep running down. I don't know. Hard to foul a guy that's a pretty solid shooter, but, you know, get a stop and then convert if you have to.
1 minute to go. Stewart to the hoop, pinned by Martindale. In the corner, Beard. Foul by Brown.
Well, that ended up working out very well for Pacific. So, you know, you got to do one or the other. Either you foul early, or if you're going to get down on the clock, you let it go. And they did that, but they did a good job. You don't foul late in the clock. So here it is. Here's the block. Great job off the backboard. Now they're going the other way, and they do what they want to do. Stop the clock and get some points. And now you're back in this again. If you can just get this to maybe a two-possession game.
Tigers on a 13-4 mini run.
So there's
again. Scan the QR code, folks. Boy, modern technology is such a wonderful thing, isn't it? All session tickets available right now. The WCC men's basketball tournament in Las Vegas.
That's two unfortunate misses. That's what you have a chance.
Yep.
And, you know, you knew there was fatigue involved because those shots were off right and off left, and usually you're never off. It's usually a short or long, but those last free throws were off by a margin. But give Pacific, again, just credit for battling, and they've done it without their top scorer really getting involved in this game, Avdalovich. Their three-point shooting, Santa Clara's done a good job on him, for sure.
Well, assuming this result holds in the West Coast Conference standings, both of these teams will end up tied with identical 3 and 2 conference marks. Stewart gets his 20th and 21st points of the night.
Yeah, you're Pacific. You got to go right away. Then after this game, play San Francisco and Gonzaga. Doesn't get any easier.
Beard to the hoop. No. Meanwhile, for Santa Clara, who have already played St. Mary's and Gonzaga. They will host BYU right here, coming up on the 19th. Then head to Moraga a week from today.
Yeah, no rest.
Nope.
you got to play those teams sooner or later. Might as well be your next games. I used to say that. You're going to play them right away. Get it done, and you're only as good as your next game. But you keeps you in a rhythm. You never want to point to a game on your schedule. I never liked that. Your next game, if that's not the most important game of the schedule, Troy, you're going to be in for some trouble. Cannot look at it any differently.
Justice has now matched his career high with 26.
Phenomenal night for Keyshawn Justice.
Yes, indeed. Martindale scores uncontested. Shot clock turned off.
Well, I've been throwing compliments to these teams. Let me just say, as always, a joy to work with you.
Likewise.
We've called this game a couple of times here, and always a pleasure.
Always fun. This game was fun. Frenetic pace at the start. Before Santa Clara started to get a little breathing room before the half. And they hold off the Pacific Tigers from there. Final score from Stockton. Santa Clara beats Pacific 92-81. Broncos now 15-5 on the year. Pacific 10-10 on the season. Both teams 3-2 in West Coast Conference play. Keyshawn Justice, that young man, a virtuoso performance with 26 points, matching a career high.
He showed out, there's no question, but when the game was on the line, big time effort from the senior.
Keyshawn Justice was terrific and helping to take the torch. Carlos Stewart, boy, was he a pest at big points throughout this contest. And without Brandon Pajemski, who missed this game due to undisclosed reasons, Santa Clara still able to right the ship, keep things steady, and keep it rolling. Santa Clara with a big win over Pacific here in Stockton tonight. On behalf of our fantastic crew and my broadcast partner, the coach, Ben Braun, I'm Troy Clarity. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight from Stockton. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and root for the WCC. Let's take you to the hilltop, St. Mary's, San Francisco.